Well, should we get into some gambling?
Let's do it.
Should we do this? All right. So we have the back end of some series here, and we're going to be able to take a look at one series early on, a couple of days before it starts. So I'll hit you with some basketball. Seth will hit you with a little hockey, and then we'll get out of here. So at the time of this recording, around noon on Tuesday, we have the Jazz taking on the Nuggets. Jazz are -2.5 favorites. Mavericks, Clippers. Clippers are -8. Then tomorrow's games, we have the Bucks Magic. Bucks -14. Rockets Thunder. Rockets -3.5. All the way out to Thursday, we have the start of a second round series in the Celtics Raptors. Raptors -1.5. So, a couple of things I have. First of all, the Nuggets have burned me a couple of times, mostly because the Jazz are playing near perfect basketball, and Donovan Mitchell has reached this insane 2006 Dwayne Wade level of basketball. So I'm sure this is going to bite me in the butt, but I'm going to roll with the Jazz to finish off this series today, -2.5. And I am going to tie them in with the Bucks and the Mavericks. So if you tease this out, 3-team teaser on 3 points, you can get the Jazz at +1.5. You can get the Mavericks at +11, and you can get the Bucks at -11. Now, if you just want to go parlay, I'm not sure what the money is on that. You're going with a couple of pretty heavy favorites in the Bucks and the Jazz, but you can tie those 3 teams together for a little parlay as well. Something is really wrong with the Clippers. Something's really wrong with the Clippers, and
Paul George. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a mess. I mean, and just so many parts of what makes this team successful are in a funk. Montrezl Harrell does not seem like himself. They are an infinitely better team with Zubac out there, and while Patrick Beverley getting back to line would help, I just don't think they have an answer for Luka, and that trio of Curry and of Trey Burke and this bench unit has really pulled together nicely. This riffraff of pieces has done really well, and it's been enough to keep them afloat. I actually think that the Mavericks win this game, but the spread being at 8 points is definitely tantalizing. These games have been pretty close for the most part, and I think the Mavericks come out swinging against the Clippers yet again, and that's a tight game, if not a win for the Mavericks. I'm staying away from the Rockets Thunder game. Seems like a trap again. Celtics Raptors. I really would like to go with Celtics here because Kemba Walker has looked very good at the back half of that 76ers series. Looked healthy. But the Raptors guards are playing so well in Van Vliet and Lowry, and they have the perfect setup of wings with Powell, Anunoby, Siakam to go up against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. This is a horrible, horrible matchup for the Celtics. And I am deeply concerned about how this is going to go for them. So I'm going to take the Raptors -1.5 all the way out on Thursday. That's what I got.
All right, let's hit the puck. So we got a couple of game twos tonight. Boston at Tampa Bay is first up. Tampa Bay, as I alluded before we started recording, they didn't look particularly good. They lost 3-2. They made it closer than it was. And then Vegas waxed Vancouver 5-0. That game was just a disaster from the get-go. So I have 2 icy cold locks for you today. Colton, I am taking Tampa Bay, and I am taking Vegas. Tampa Bay is favored by 1.5 tonight, over-under at 5.5. So I am taking Tampa Bay, the under. And then Vegas is favored by a goal and a half. Also 5.5 over under. I am taking Vegas in that one as well. So I think we get a 2-0 series lead for the Golden Knights, and I think Tampa Bay ties their series at 1.
Would you be confident enough to tie those together for a little parlay action?
I think so.
Interesting. I also have Wednesday's lineup as well. I have the Islanders and the Flyers. The Islanders are -1.5. And then the Avalanche and the Stars. Avalanche -1.5. Now, the Islanders are up in that series 1-0. The Stars are up in the series with the Avalanche 2-0. As someone who hasn't watched any of the hockey yet, the Avalanche seem like they're in a tight spot, a squeeze where they will need a game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in them to fight their way into that series with a win, or should I be taking the Stars on plus money on their plus 120 money line?
So that Colorado Dallas game was weird. I watched it last night until I fell asleep, and Colorado got out to a quick lead. Dallas tied it, then untied it, and kept adding. So Colorado, I don't know. It's just been so weird with this second round because there's only one top seed, the Vegas Golden Knights, who has actually looked good so far. So I hesitate to rush to judgment, but I think the Flyers are in trouble because the Islanders play such a defensive style that they're going to really slow them down. And I jokingly said they lost 4-0. I said they'll be lucky to score 4 goals in the series, let alone in the rest of this game. So I think the Flyers are in trouble. I think Tampa Bay and Boston will end up being a series, so it wouldn't surprise me if, even if Boston does win tonight, if Tampa Bay gets it back to like 2-1 tomorrow. I got to go with Dallas in Game 3 of that series. I think they are the perfect counterpunch for the explosiveness that Colorado brings. So I'm rolling Stars there too, and I think we could have some quick series here in round 2.
Well, in that case, let me interest you in a Utah, Dallas, Toronto parlay so you can have a bet going every single day for the next 3 days. Start with Dallas in a little bit here, and then you go to, or not Dallas, Utah, in a few hours here, and then you hit Dallas on Wednesday, and then you nail Toronto on Thursday. Keep you going right into the weekend, baby.
Boy, I love it. So yeah, take advice from our bets because we obviously put work in. It's not like I'm just pulling these off the top of my head. So yeah, happy.
Well, I know just if you're not even doing research, we've watched, I think between the two of us, we've watched just about every basketball and hockey playoff game that has been televised. So I feel like there at least should be some value in that.
Oh, for sure. I 100% agree. So we'll see where things lead. It is just about Labor Day weekend. That's coming up next week, which is crazy. Where does the time go? So
I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know what we gotta do, because it's about that time, is we've got to make some wagers on fantasy football.
Oh.
Because you can bet on fantasy football stats.
Yes.
So we've got to try and maneuver the minefield that is fantasy football and somehow merge it with gambling just so that we blow our brains out at the end of the football season for sure.
70 pages of over-unders. Let's do it.
Love it.
Let's do it. For Colton, I'm Seth. Hit me again. We'll hit you again next week.